Gotta get the link. Come on, YouTube.
And it says we are live to restream.
There we go. There it is.
Oh, wow. Okay.
All right.
Yep. Looks like we're good. Facebook, good on Twitch, good on YouTube. Love the chat. Chat open. Wife and kid is going to barge in here any minute now. So I noticed that there's a whiteboard back here in my closet.
Yeah.
And I was thinking I should write something funny on that whiteboard every week. But then again, it's too far away. I don't know that anybody can see it. I need to move it close. Maybe I'll mount it on this door behind me. And then every week I'll just kind of write something, see if anybody notices. All right. Well, I guess I am ready when you are.
Yep. I'm ready.
Oh, did you share the stream on Discord?
Yes,
at least?
I did.
All right. I would do it on Facebook, but I don't think anybody will follow grandparents.
Hey, that's 2 more viewers.
Yeah,
or 4 or 3 or whatever it is.
All right. Hello and welcome to Crowbar Kernel Panic, the podcast at the intersection of Linux and gaming. This is episode 33, and this episode we're going to be talking about Adwaita for Stream, Linux Mint 21.1. We're going to be talking about the Game Awards, the good and the bad, the crazy debacle that happened. RDNA 3 got lots. We actually had a lot of stories about RDNA 3, but I was like, we've been graphics carding this place to death. I think we need to settle it down some, so I took some of it out. But they were all kind of encompassing the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then an EVGA prototype that was found on eBay. That's a really fun story.
Yeah,
but
that one is.
We're going to be live streaming. We're live streaming to YouTube at Crowbar Kernel Panic. We're also live streaming to Twitch and to Facebook, also under the same name, Crowbar Kernel Panic. You can send us an email, crowbarkernelpanic@pm.me, especially if you're another podcast and you want to do some some kind of cross stuff.
Yep.
Please send us a message. I talked to somebody this week, not through the email, but I just talked to some. And you can join us on Discord. So we have a link to that in the show notes. Before we start the show, though, I want to know, did you do anything interesting this week? Did anything fun happen in the world of Josh?
Fun.
Your cat pillow on the back of your chair.
Oh yeah, he's always my pillow. He's all good. Well, not really. I mean, kind of went to parents for the weekend and kind of did the whole kind of made the tree up and everything and whatnot for Christmas. And
you guys just now put up your Christmas tree?
Oh, dude, we don't even have ours up yet.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So the reason why that is because, as you can see behind me, there's still boxes everywhere, and I should be, organizing this, but
I thought you were going to say the cat. I thought you were going to say, as you can see behind me, the cat is going to knock down the tree.
Well, he's another issue, but we have ways to deal with that problem.
What do you got a squirt gun you spraying with?
Oh yeah.
That's what my parents used to do when I was a kid.
Don't touch that Christmas ball.
Our cat doesn't really mess with the tree at all, but my wife puts that thing up. She put it up day after Thanksgiving, and I think every year.
So that's like my goal every year, but it never happens.
I think every year. See, I would, if it was up to me, I would never put it up. I would be like, oh, I'll do it next week. Every week
and
until
then just
Christmas.
Never.
Yeah, and then just never do it. But my wife, she puts that thing up as soon as it's time. She's ready to put it up.
You know what's the best part about not putting it up though?
What's that?
Don't gotta take it down.
Yeah, Yeah. Yeah, we tried to do Halloween really big this year, and
Okay.
that led to us having to do uh, Christmas really big. So like I live in a neighborhood that like seems like it would have a good Halloween presence, but it doesn't really. And so we were trying to get the show notes back up. I'm
like
sorry.
spark up the
Yeah, yeah.
interest.
So like me and there's another neighbor down the road that's like really into it, and we kind of got together and we said, well, next year let's just go all out, and then we'll like encourage our neighbors. And we did get a few other people that did it as well, and I think there was more trick or treaters this year than every year since we've lived here. But also we moved here 2020, so basically it's been
Oh
pandemic
yeah,
since
that's
we
right.
moved here, and this was like the first like real trick or treat year. So because of that, and because of my mother, who would like if we had done Halloween big, but not Christmas, then she would have she would guilt us into doing Christmas big. So in turn, we also had to do a big Christmas. So
Gotcha.
I did the lights and everything. I say big, we just did lights and like candles in the windows. We don't have like a blow up or anything. You don't have to you don't tune your radio to a certain station when you drive by our house or anything like that.
Although that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. I played a game this week. I thought maybe in the opening of the show we could start asking what games we played, but I know that both you and I usually work more than games, so like
Yeah, dude.
typically we don't have a game.
It's so rough.
That game I talked about last week, Chained Echoes, finally came out, and it's really good.
Oh, all right.
And it's a game that looks like it was made for Steam Deck and for
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah,
So it's like a Steam Deck exclusive, but it's like you can play anywhere, but it's really meant for Steam Deck.
Yeah, I really feel like it's tailored towards Steam Deck and towards the Switch specifically, because it's just it's made for that resolution. Yeah, it's made for that resolution.
Yeah, I got you.
I bought it on Steam, and then I played it first through Proton on my desktop, and I had trouble getting the controller to work on Linux. But I've had that could be something with my current setup, because I also had that problem with Stray, and I know that Stray worked on my previous installation. Stray worked fine, so I don't know. There's something weird going on with my computer and controller in Proton. But I figured out
your new one or your old one?
in my new
Oh
installation.
crap!
Yeah, but I figured out that it's if I turn on, so there's a controller mode like in Steam, like I forget what it's actually called, but if I turn that on, then the controller works. It just doesn't work by like auto detection. I have to like turn on that like Steam.
I know what you're talking
feature.
about. I've had to use that before. Yeah.
But it works. I can tell that it's made for handhelds though, because even whenever I launch it on my computer, it can't go to a full like 1080 resolution. Like just in a small window. And it kind of reminds me of an RPG Maker, how whenever you do the test play and it opens in that little window, it's like a little bigger than that. Like it feels really small.
Gotcha.
So I've been playing it on the Steam Deck, which it's great on the Steam Deck, except for one thing. And this is like a feature they really need to fix. I looked it up in the Steam forums, and there's a lot of people asking for this feature. It needs to be the next thing they do for sure. That is like synced saves, so that whenever you save your game, it syncs with your Steam account. Because if I have a saved game on my PC, I can't then just pick up the Steam Deck and pick up from that saved game.
Oh yeah, that was a huge thing that everyone was talking about early on with the Steam Deck, because I can't remember, something has that already.
Most games have that. Most Steam games have that.
Right.
And it's like a feature that is like enabled somehow by the developer. And I think got a weird, you hear that?
Yeah, I heard that.
Oh, it's my phone vibrating.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know what that was. So
ghost too.
Got a ghost. Yeah, and it's disabled for this game, which this seems like if any game ever was designed to have this feature, it would be this one. Luckily, you can find where the save games are at on your computer, and because the Steam Deck it's just a little handheld computer, I could transfer it onto a thumb drive and put it on my Steam Deck, and then I only play it on my Steam Deck now that I have that save game there. But yeah, it's a really cool game. It's like it is an RPG, classic RPG style, where you got this really long, convoluted story, where you play as like various characters, and you join them. You have a party, and it's turn-based combat. It has this really cool like little meter system where like as you make attacks and make movements in the combat, it increases this meter, and it has like a green section, and you want it to stay there. If you go too far, you start taking more damage. But if you don't do enough and it's in the yellow, then you don't get the buff that you get when you're in the green. So it has this sort of mechanism where you're constantly doing. And then also it has like the way it's a really well balanced. The combat is really fun. At a lot of turn-based games, a lot of times you're kind of dealing with the combat because you want the story, but then there's other turn-based games where like the combat is kind of the draw, and I think this game has a really nice balance of both. It's really good. I would highly recommend it to anybody that likes that sort of like long campaign style turn-based RPG. If that's your jam, I think.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool actually. I'm looking at the little previews they got on Steam, and it looks pretty nice.
Yeah, it's a Unity game actually. I thought it was RPG Maker at first because it's very RPG Maker style, but it's actually a Unity. It's actually a Unity engine game. But I think
I can tell after looking at it and after actually working with RPG Maker, I can tell that it's not. Just because there are definitely some elements that you can't do in RPG Maker.
Yeah,
but
another topic we'll get into later in this episode.
Oh yeah.
So let's talk about some Linux news. So Adwaita for Steam. Is that how you say it? Adwaita?
Yeah, Adwaita or Adwaita or whatever. I don't know. I pronounce it 5 different ways. So.
Yeah, I think I always it's not something I say a lot. I just read it, but I think that I say Adwaita. I don't know. I might be saying it funny because.
Or is it Adwaita?
Adwaita, maybe.
Because it's AD wait A.
Yeah, Adwaita. Just say it fast. No one knows, but you know the theme. If you used like almost any version of GNOME, especially recently, then you've had this theme.
Yep.
GTK. Well, now you can get Adwaita for Steam, which is a project. I got a link to the GitHub in the show notes. It'll walk you through how to install it, but it gives your Steam installation instead of having the default Windows style Steam window. This makes it look like it blends into your desktop, like it's
it looks freaking nice.
Your desktop. Yeah, it's really cool. I actually haven't tried it yet, though. I put it in the show notes. And I haven't even tried it yet, but where do you see the T-Cash? Oh man, talking about how to say Adwaita, I can't say that name, but the links in the show notes. The links in the show notes. Go check his project out. It's really cool, and it works. Also have Linux Mint 21.1 Vera been released. Actually, it's a beta release. So you can download the beta release now if you want to be a beta tester and try that out. I am not going to go through like all of the details in the, but there is a great write-up on OMG Ubuntu that shows like videos and GIFs of all the new changes. But in the show notes, I put a link of the actual blog post from Linux Mint and the write-up in OMG because I think they do a really good job of spreading what's changed. So you and I both come from Mintcast. We're both fans of Linux Mint, and I would say it's my second or third favorite Linux distro. It's one that I frequently go to. So it's good to see that they're continuing to improve.
Yeah, definitely. I haven't kept up with it as much recently, but I try to definitely check it out when they release the major updates, the point releases and all that. Because they usually have a lot of good features that they are including in it.
Yeah. I think it doesn't get Linux Mint is like popular, but like not uber popular. But like a lot of people use Linux Mint. I don't know what We don't know what it is, but it's one that I always go back to. So,
Oh yeah, well it just works, you know. It's not like you have to worry about it having an issue, other than like if it doesn't boot when you try to like install it, then you got a problem. But if you can get it to boot, it'll install and it'll work fine every time.
so do you want to do RDNA 3 discussion, or do we want to jump into the game awards? I would vote we go ahead and do the graphics cards, get that out of the way,
All right, that
and
sounds good. Yeah.
then do some game awards discussion. You got your very own Stray going on there.
Yeah, this cat, he's really getting annoying. Just lay down. For people who are not watching the video, he's rubbing his head on my mic, or not my mic, my headphones, and
yeah.
he's really getting annoying. He's bit me twice too, so that's fun.
Probably helps with the video.
Yeah, right. Yeah, Google like sees that there's a cat there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Promoted in the cat videos.
This should have been the Stray episode.
Yeah, seriously. What was wrong with you? Why didn't you cooperate last time? Because you're a cat.
So, RDNA 3 GPU leaked benchmarks disappoint some gamers. I actually think this headline is kind of misleading. This was posted in the Discord by Dale, who has become like our news source. He's been posting.
Yeah, I know. He's like really posting a lot especially about the graphics cards.
Yeah, I know, but it's been working out because that's all we've been talking about lately.
Yeah.
So,
well, I mean, there's been huge news.
Yeah, one thing he posted that I didn't put in the show notes, but I thought was really interesting. You know what? I'll put it in the show notes, but we can't talk about the whole article. Just thought it was too long. But
yeah,
there was a great like year-long write-up of like all the changes and all the like news and stuff that's happened out for graphics cards.
I didn't even read all of that, but yeah, there was a lot.
Yeah, and like way more than I remembered. I didn't know.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff in there that I was like, whoa, yeah, I forgot about that.
But RDNA 3, the benchmarks that are leaked from this. So this is going to be the RX 79 XTX and the 7900 XT, or 7900 XTX and 7900 XT. So the new Radeon cards. Like I said, the headline I think is a little misleading. It says that it leaked benchmarks disappoint some gamers, and I would say that before the show, I watched some YouTube videos about this topic, and their YouTube video titles were also of the same misleading nature. Essentially, the article describes how under benchmark testing, there's two different settings. I'm trying to see in here. The different settings were named. So 3D Mark is the benchmark they were using, and see the name of the test type. But there's two different ones, and under one, the 7900 XTX and the 7900 XT did almost as well as the 4080. So say that it hit. So the 7900 XTX hits 13,729 as a 3D Mark score, while the XT hit 13,687.
Right.
But the 4080 hit 1,405.
It's still a little better.
Yeah, a little better, but the price difference between these cards is pretty dramatic.
I know.
I mean, the XTX is under $1,000. MSRP. They're not going to be that price whenever you buy them, but that's MSRP is under $1,000. And the 4080s are like some absurd, like $1,500-$1,600. Like they're a whole lot more expensive.
I think you're right. I think there's something like that. Yeah,
I'm gonna look it up.
Either 12 or 15, something like that. I know there's some absurd price. I can't remember.
They might have actually dropped in retail. I want to see what the actual MSRP is. RTX 4080 MSRP. But the difference is, I mean, it's not minuscule, but for the price difference, I definitely think it's worth the value.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. They're more like 12. They're more like 1,200 for the 4080. You're right.
not on, not on Newegg. Holy crap!
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm
This is probably
saying.
what you're looking at. They're like $1,500.
Right. Yeah, that's the way it always goes. Though even these MSRP $999 cards are not going to be. They're going to be more probably. Um,
Yeah.
that's usually just how it typically works. But I
Ouch!
think,
Don't try to buy a pre-built. Holy crap! They start at like 2,500.
holy cow, yeah, that's crazy. But still, I mean, and we've been talking. It's like it's the Crowbar Colonel Panic meme that I hate giant cards. And while even the 7900s are a little big, they're pretty big. They're nothing compared to these 40 series Nvidia cards. I mean,
So
even if they were the
this
same price, I wouldn't want that giant thing in my computer. It's absurd. It's absurd.
this is the thing. This is the thing I don't understand. So today it's kind of weird because today we got a order in for a precision desktop, and it's got like it's decked
Oh,
out, dual Xeons, all this stuff, whatever. But it had an RTX A2000, which is like the CAD kind of GPU.
yeah.
Um, well, when I looked it up, it's like the equivalent of I think a 3060,
Mm,
but it's literally
yeah.
like
Much smaller.
this graphics card is literally like two Raspberry Pis next to each other, like long ways.
Huh.
That's all the bigger it is. I'm like,
That's
how can they
weird.
make it that small? But
Yeah.
yet the real 3060 is like
I
huge.
I actually, that's a great question, and I really don't know the answer to that. But I know that I saw that too when I used to work at Best Buy, and someone bought like a Dell computer that like came with a graphics card, and
Yeah, this
then
is a Dell. Yeah.
okay, and then that graphics card in the Dell would be completely different than the same card
Mm-hmm.
on the shelf. And we would have customers that would like their card would go bad. They would bring it under warranty, and their warranty would cover replacing the card, but we would either have to send it off to Dell to have it replaced or have that Dell part shipped to us to replace it. And the
Right.
customer never understood why they couldn't just go get the same model off the shelf. And I would be like, well, it's a different vendor made, like it's a different card. But
Yeah, it's totally different. Yeah.
they're dramatically different. You know what I mean? Like if you bought like a EVGA versus an MSI of the same series card, it wouldn't be as dramatically different as if you get like a vendor
Right.
retail
Oh
version.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was utterly shocked when I saw the size of that thing. I'm like,
Ye-
there's no way this
That
thing's like
seems
a full.
yeah, that seems like an extreme case. I don't that one might be one that's designed just for that specific
I
like
don't
CAD
know because this
process.
thing was huge. This tower was huge. But anyway,
That's
I
crazy.
was just I don't know what. Maybe it's the extra R&D they have to put into these cars.
Yeah,
They can get them smaller. I don't know, but
you can't tell me that there was. We're getting off on the meme tangent again. I wonder how much of it is marketing because there was a
oh
time
yeah,
period where it was like cards were all like this size,
yep,
and then they like a sign that you were moving to a more modern era card if you move to a larger heatsink. And I wonder how much
yep.
of it is like, okay, well, we want our, even though we may not need a heatsink that big, it looks more gaming ish, And so we're going to put that big heatsink with a big fan on it. And then now I think it's a necessity because they're trying to pack so much into it that
Yeah,
they need all the power and they got to reduce that heat. And so I wonder where the line was drawn. Like I wonder where they were like, okay, we were doing this kind of for marketing and now we kind of need to. Um,
yeah,
and if
yeah,
they could
yeah.
find a way to shrink them back down. But anyway, that's not what this article is about. And I found the terms that I was talking about. So 3D Mark Time Spy versus
Okay.
the Fire Strike, the 3D Mark Fire Strike.
Yep,
These are
yep, yep.
these are different tests you can do.
Right.
I haven't used 3D Mark since like 3D Mark '08 or something. Um, it's been a while. So in the Fire Strike, that's where we were seeing the scores for the 7900 XTX and the 7900 XT score slightly lower than that of the 4080.
Yep.
Obviously, the 4090 does way better. Like it does a lot better.
Right.
Um,
That's
but
way more money though.
yeah, right. But in the Fire Strike, the 7900s actually performed a little better.
Yep.
So in that version, they performed a little bit better. Now, this is not the same thing as actual game performance. And in this article, I think that sort of information had not been released yet, although I have seen it now on YouTube, and I'm sure there's other articles. I'll try to find something and put it in the show notes. But even in those examples of like actual game, examples, it's a similar kind of situation where it's like in some scenarios they perform like slightly better than a 4080, and then in some
Right.
scenarios they don't perform quite as good. But I still think that just right now everything that's going on in this environment, um, you know, just both like the way the companies have reacted to different
Yep.
things, and I just I don't want a toaster in my computer. And I don't want to get a new power supply. It's going to light my house on fire if I use the wrong plug. And the fact that it's like $200-$300 cheaper, more in some cases, a lot more. I would definitely go with a 7900, a 79 series card for sure over a 40. But I also think that we're really splitting hairs here. Like, nobody needs either of these cards. Like, no. If you are the average gamer, and see, that's kind of what gets me about these headlines about like gamers are disappointed by the results of the leaks. And then there's
you mean the 1% of the 1%,
right? Exactly. And then in the YouTube videos, they're like the low performance. I can't think of any examples, but they're all this same kind of thing where it's like people were disappointed by who was disappointed. Maybe in your circle of friends they were disappointed, but I want to tell you, to the regular people, we're so excited these cards came out so the price drops on the previous cards, because no one is really buying these unless you are just like money bags McGee over here, because
exactly. Ain't nobody got money for this.
It's way too much, man. It's way too much. I mean, I don't know. The whole thing is absurd. And then here I am getting suckered into an AM5 Black Friday deal, but still.
Okay, you upgraded pretty far with that one.
I would have been fine doing a more modern AM4 though, but still, it wasn't that much more because of Black Friday. Maybe next year Black Friday I'll be like, my new 4080 that I bought.
when the 580 5080 comes out.
Yeah, no, not really. I just think that, and here's another thing too, is nobody's disappointed, because what did you expect? Like, who out there was thinking that these cards were going to do better than the NVIDIA cards? Like, I don't think anybody had that expectation. I mean, if anything, I think people are. I would change the title of this as AMD AMD RDNA 3 GPU leaked benchmarks pleasantly surprise most gamers.
Yeah. NVIDIA shaking in their boots.
Yeah, that's the way. I mean, even Radeon, that's how they described their new product line, was like, hey, we're going to be almost as good and we're going to be cheaper. That's like that's basically their motto right now, and it's working for them. It's doing pretty good.
You can't beat them. Get darn close and cut the price.
That's right. I also have a Phoronix article. This is way too much to get into in the podcast.
Oh yeah, I was reading this one. This one's a lot.
Yeah, dude, Phoronix does the best write-ups, but they have a AMD Radeon RX 7900 XTX and 7900 XT Linux support and performance, and this is it's like a 13-page write-up where it's 9 pages. It's a 9-page write-up where they have thoroughly described the support on these cards on Linux and where they're doing well, where they're lacking. Every Phoronix article is this way. They're so good at
Oh yeah.
So
definitely.
I'll make sure that is in the show notes for you to check out. Thinking about getting one of the cards. All right, I have a. So someone tried auctioning off an EVGA RTX 4090 prototype on eBay. If you remember back, we did a story about how EVGA was no longer going to be making graphics cards.
Yep.
And I kind of even said like, "Oh, this is the end of an era." I remember I bought so many EVGA cards. I have an
Mm-hmm.
EVGA card right now, and well, they actually made one card, or they might have made a few cards, but they made one model that would have came out had they have not uh, canceled that agreement. And
Parted ways.
right, yeah. So and it was sent to Jay's 2 Cents, and maybe a few other YouTubers, but it was just sent to a few people. I don't even know why. If they're not planning on releasing it, I don't even know why they care if someone reviewed it. But whatever
Just
reason,
to show everyone what they're missing.
yeah, this is what. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Yeah, they were just showing up to the party. Yeah,
Just a flex.
yeah. And well, one of them turned up on eBay for sale, and the money was going to charity, to St. Jude's Children's Hospital. And but the funny thing is that it coincided with a live stream where that EVGA held, where they were also doing a big charity for St. Jude's. And but the whole eBay auction kind of came up like they didn't really make a big announcement. There was there wasn't really anything on their website. It was just kind of
even looked super sketch because they didn't use an account that they normally used.
Yeah. Yeah, so like everybody was kind of like on the fence about whether it was real or not. Jay's 2 Cents came out on Twitter and he said, "Hey, this looks official. This is real. You know, go for it." And then mysteriously, after raising $13,000, it just disappeared off of eBay. And there is a conclusion to this story now. Since we put this in the show notes, since we've put them in the show notes, there actually is a second part.
Yeah.
But at this time, no one knew what happened. Was this really EVGA? And they just didn't do a very good job promoting it, which they didn't need to promote it too much because it raised $13,000 and it still had like 6 days left before the end of the auction. Which, think about it, this would be an amazing, if you're like a electronics collector and you have money to waste on this type of thing, this would be a really cool item to have in your collection, because like it is like a one and only card.
Yeah.
Like this card was just made as a prototype and then will never exist. Not only will it never exist, it's literally the last graphics card that EVGA made. And it's kind of a cool item. Like if I was like a billionaire because I won the lottery or something, I would try to buy this, you know?
Yeah.
On my salary, ain't happening. But
No.
some alternate reality version of myself, I would try to buy this. So,
can I get that with payments?
Yeah, how long can I pay that off at $49.99 a month? So the weird thing is if it was a scam, what was the scam? Because it was on the eBay listing they have like an auctions listing.
Yeah.
Like a charity listing. So like the money was already guaranteed to go to the charity. It wasn't like someone could have gotten it and then taken the money and ran. Well, anyway, as it turns out, it actually was a real auction by EVGA. So it, for some reason, I guess it just wasn't. Maybe they meant to announce it in the live stream they did for St. Jude's, and it just
something got crossed.
Yeah,
some wires got crossed somewhere on this situation.
So it really was them. They really did post it, and eBay took it down. The listing was taken down. I wonder if it got like flagged suspicious because of all the fans like going back and forth about whether it was real or not.
Mm-hmm.
So instead,
people might have even flagged it themselves. Like when they saw it, they would have like, "This can't be right," and just.
Yeah, so now they're selling it on EVGA's forum. They've got an auction going on the forum. At the time of this article, it was up to $6,000. I hope that it exceeds the $13,000 that it would have reached on
Why
eBay.
didn't they just put it back on eBay?
I don't know.
They made so much more money on eBay.
Yeah, it's a strange. It's still kind of a strange story. Yeah.
Maybe they weren't supposed to put it on eBay. Like I said, some wires got crossed. Maybe somebody just assumed that. And while they were on the stream, this guy was just doing his own thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. That's what I was thinking happened too. And then now, oh, that's a really good. All right, that's a really good. We'll call it a fan fiction. That's really good fan fiction there for EVGA.
Yeah.
Is that someone was like, during the live stream, he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll post that on." And he posted it on eBay, right? And then it raises all this money, gets all this attention, and then somebody at EVGA,
And the executives come in. No, wait.
what the hell did you do? But they're so worried about the bad publicity from them not doing it now. Like think of all the money you could have raised for charity that they're like, oh, I guess now we got to. Thanks a lot, Frank.
Now it's gone.
Thanks a lot.
Even the
Frank.
CEO of EVGA doesn't get his own graphics card.
I thought before I saw the second article, what I thought might have happened was like Jay's 2 cents or somebody that received a card for a YouTube review mistakenly posted it on eBay.
That's exactly what I thought. That's exactly what I thought. Especially since Jay's 2 cents endorsed it.
Right.
I was like,
oh yeah,
I was like,
I was thinking like less malicious, but like more like there's just like an employee that.
Oh no! I don't mean a malicious. I mean because he was raising. He would have been doing it for charity.
Oh yeah, it would have been for charity. That's true too.
Yeah, I was just like really suspicious that he like endorsed it so quickly.
Well, I know that happens with like fashion brands. Like I've heard of like someone will send a review item or like Instagram models. Like, and I only know about this because I heard about it on a podcast. I don't like follow any Instagram models. But like Instagram models will receive like clothing because they want them to take pictures in it for Instagram. Then they're not supposed to sell it. Well, sometimes they are allowed to sell products and sometimes they're not. And they do sell products that they're allowed to. So they get mixed up sometimes and mistakenly sell something they weren't allowed to. I thought something might have happened like that. Like EVGA sent out one of these cards to an influencer who mistakenly posted it on. And then whenever they realized their mistake, they were like, oh shit, take that down. And but it was already written about on like
maybe that did happen and EVGA asked for it back and now they're putting it out there.
Oh, that could be. But only like 3.
Jay's 2 cents. I'm calling you out. Next video, you better show that card.
Jay's 2 cents is the only one that I know by name, but I know that like a few people got these. So like it would have had to been somebody so big. And maybe they would have just agreed that like, hey, we're just not going to mention that's how this happened.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's a pretty good.
Either way, it was raising charity money, so it's all good.
Yeah. I don't suspect it was. It couldn't have been malicious, or I mean,
no, it couldn't have been.
Because what would be the gain?
There would be no gain except for publicity. But the problem is, there's no publicity because nobody knows who it is.
You can't admit to it, right? Exactly. Yeah. Right. That's exactly right. So, all the graphics card news we got. Game Awards just happened.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and tell you right now, I did not win a Steam Deck.
Nope, me neither.
Unfortunately, I had let's see, what was it like? It was like 2.5 hours. I had like 150 chances to get one.
Yep.
I didn't get one. But some of the funny things that came. Well, let's talk about the good things that came from Game Awards. So we've got a list of announcements. I don't know if you had a chance to look through the list. I thought I would just go through and kind of tell you some of the ones that I think are cool. Obviously, we don't have time to look at all these announcements.
Yeah. No, I kind of looked through some of it.
So, Final Fantasy 16. I have not even watched this trailer yet, but it looks like. I wonder if I can. 17. I was gonna mute it so we don't have to listen to it, but just from the like stills of it, it looks more classic Final Fantasy than the last Final Fantasy. Like I was really not that into the most recent Final Fantasy. They did like 3 of those games. They did like 3 different like extensions to it. But yeah,
right.
It looks really cool. Armored Core, I've heard people talk about that, and it's from Software. So Armored Core is a franchise I'm not really that connected to, but From Software just recently, their Elden Ring was so big, and
Yep.
all the Souls games, so pretty cool. Hades 2, this was one that I wanted to point out. It's kind of an indie development game. The first one was kind of like this, like shot in the dark, like came out of nowhere, really good, good indie game. So there's a sequel to that. There's a game Judas. This is made by some of the developers of BioShock, so people are excited about that. It looks like a very like BioShock-esque modern game. Here's the one. This is the first one I'm really excited about. Death Stranding 2. They released the trailer.
Walking Simulator 2.
Yeah, the best walking simulator. The walking across ladders simulator, carrying heavy stuff simulator, walking
Simulator 2, the longest mile.
Death Stranding 2. It looks wild. I'll tell you, I really liked Death Stranding. I have no idea what it's about. I couldn't tell you the plot of the game. All I could tell you is that I loved it, and I never thought we'd get a sequel. I knew that the rumor was that like this was like Hideo Kojima's like new Metal Gear kind of thing. And the interesting thing is in this trailer, there's like almost literally a Metal Gear at the end of it. There's like this big mech thing that comes out of the water. Or out of the sludge. And
the sludge.
Yeah, I never thought we'd get a sequel to this bizarre game, but but it's great. I'm glad we do. I want to carry more heavy stuff down steep hills and have to figure out how to not knock Norman Reedus over. Let's see. Oh, and there's a part of this article is that Hideo Kojima rewrote Death Stranding 2 after the COVID-19 pandemic. So that's pretty interesting. He kind of had a plot for the game, but then decided, I want to change it based on a new Cyberpunk.
I want there to be a virus, and I want it to attack everyone, but you got to make sure you walk away from it. You can't run, just walk.
That's the thing though, is I don't understand how that works into Death Stranding, because you barely see other people in the game. So like, what kind of pandemic? you're 6
you're
miles,
the true isolator.
6 miles social distancing. Yeah, you're not near anybody. Idris Elba is going to be the face of Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty, which
I don't even know.
God, I could not care less about Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah, it was such a blah. I care more about the Witcher remake, which I don't think I saw anything about.
I don't know. Actually, yeah, you're right.
That's what I was hoping for, the Witcher remake, and then the remaster of Witcher 3.
Yeah. New Star Wars Jedi Survivor, not really interested in that.
Yep.
Or are you?
I haven't beat the first one yet, so
yeah. So Diablo 4, Street Fighter 6, that's pretty cool if you're into those games. Yep. But scrolling through, trying to see Tekken 8.
Oh wait, you forgot the most important one. Super Mario Brothers movie clip revealed.
Oh man, I didn't even see that. And I don't feel like watch it.
It's just it's so bad, especially with Chris Pratt as I think it's Chris Pratt. I'm pretty sure he's the voice of Mario. Yeah. It's just like, why did you ruin this? First you take Henry Cavill away from Witcher, then you do this.
This is one of those examples though. It's like, I feel like, what could they have done? Like, I don't know how. Other than making it for kids, and then you have to kind of fall. I mean, I guess it is made for kids, but it's not really. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know yet, because
I
don't see how it could, I guess I'm saying I don't see how it could have been good. Like, I don't see what's the alternative to Chris Pratt.
Right.
You know?
Right. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I mean, the actual voice of Mario, I can't remember the guy's name, but I interviewed him at a convention.
Really?
Yeah. He was a really nice guy, and I remember it was the easiest interview I've ever done. I used to host panels at a local like comic convention, and a lot of times I would have to like kind of entertain the crowd for an hour because like whoever the guest was just really was not that into it.
Yeah, right.
That guy, I introduced him, and he did not. He just the whole time he talked. He told the whole story of Mario, how he came up with the voice, how it was like he like tried out at some like convention or something, and like ended up getting to the job of being the voice of Mario. I mean, it was like a crazy. He was like saying like everybody else was kind of doing these like New York Italian, I'm an Italian plumber, and he was like,
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, it was the easiest thing I ever had to do because I basically just introduced him and then he just talked the entire time. But even if you had gotten that guy to do the voice, that is a complete. Could you do that? Could you watch a 2-hour movie of that?
No.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't think I can watch a 2-hour movie of this in general.
There's no way. Yeah, there's no way that it would
unless
be a
there's
good
a
movie.
child involved and they want to see it. I'm not going to see this.
Yeah, I'll watch it when it comes out on like. I can watch it on Amazon or something with my son, then we'll probably watch it.
Yeah, exactly.
While I'm doing something else and listening to it and he's watching it intently. That's probably how I'll see it.
Steam Deck. That's what it was made for.
So Horizon Forbidden West, I bring this one up only because I know you're into the Horizon series.
Yeah, that was a pretty good game. I haven't beat it yet either, but it's definitely a very very in-depth and like boss kind of centric game, where you fight a lot of bosses. It's not a lot of little guys.
Yeah. It's a pretty cool announcement. Warhammer announcement. Seems like there's a new Warhammer game every 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know.
By like a different company and different stuff. Hellboy. I haven't watched.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I used to love that movie.
The movies, but also the original comic, and this looks like
comics,
it's going to be that
comics
style.
were good. I was never into the comics that much.
I actually like the movies too. A lot of people kind of give it crap. I haven't seen the newest movie, but the
no, I don't mean the new ones.
Yeah, the ones you're talking about. I actually thought that. Anyway, Last of Us is getting a PC release. That's pretty cool for us.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Yep.
Oh, Baldur's Gate 3 got a release. They have a release window announced, which is hilarious because like everybody's already been playing Baldur's Gate 3 for year now. Anyway,
yeah.
Lots of really cool stuff. Talk about some of there's a bunch in here. Can't go over them all.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Let's talk about the categories and the winners. And I know we were rooting for Stray, which I knew Stray wasn't going to get Game of the Year. I knew it was going to be Elden Ring, for sure. Everybody's been predicting that, like, it came to fruition based on people's prediction. Like, everybody's been predicting that since. So Game of the Year, Elden Ring, but let's talk about some of the ones that were in the run-up. The Horizon Forbidden West was one of the ones. God of War Ragnarok, which just came out. I haven't even watched anybody play it yet.
No, me neither.
But I have no doubt that it's great though, because all those games are really good. So I have no doubt that it's really good. Elden Ring, which I think is probably the right answer to this question.
Yep.
A Plague's Tale Requiem, which is I haven't played Requiem, but A Plague's Tale is really good, and just like God of War, I'm sure it's a great game. But I was actually surprised to see Stray. I didn't realize Stray was on the nominee Game of the Year list. Like, I was.
Oh yeah,
That
game took everyone by storm. Like it was crazy.
Yeah, it really was like an overnight, like huge success. And I think it was because of the bait and switch of it. Nobody really knew what it was. Now, if you play it, you have an idea of what it was. But I think it's like going into it right when it launched, it was like no one really knew,
Nope.
And Xenoblade Chronicles 3, I don't know anything about the Xenoblade. I don't know anything about the Xenoblade franchise.
I didn't even know that was such a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I knew it existed.
Never even heard
but I
of
don't know
it.
anything about it. I don't know anything about it. For it to be on the Game of the Year thing, I don't know anything about it. But I know it is a popular franchise. So let's see. So Elden Ring won like a bunch of categories. So they run best
art direction, best game direction.
Best narrative went to God of War, which again, that's probably the right answer just based on their history. but Stray won in Best Indie Game, which I don't know any. Cult of the Lamb, I know that one, but I don't know the other games that editors. Neon White sounds familiar. I probably know it, but
Mhm.
yeah. So I was kind of like, I was not really joking because I believed it, but I didn't know the rest of the world believed it. But I was hoping that Stray would win.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy 14 Best Community Support, which is kind of funny that Final Fantasy 14 is even listed at all because it's been out forever. But honest to God though, if there is ever any game that has really good community support, it's definitely Final Fantasy 14. They are nuts. They're nuts about being like, they are so open and honest with their community, and they take player feedback like that like hands down. They probably have won this award every year since they came out because they're really good at that. I don't think you could beat them. Like, they're literally fans of their game and they listen. So yeah, interesting results.
Best VR AR game. I don't know any of these. Oh, I
Yeah.
guess Among Us.
Oh,
Among Us VR.
there was one I knew, Bone Labs.
Nah, I had no idea.
Can't
But
even find that.
Among Us VR, I know that.
I didn't know
But
there
I
was a
mean,
VR version of Among Us, but I
me
know
neither.
what
I
Among
actually,
Us is.
when I was when I was reading this, I didn't even. I thought that was a different thing
The only reason
because it
why
was VR.
the only reason why I know and Half-Life Alex is not on here. Alex came out. It didn't come out this year. That's why.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah.
Bone Lab, I only know because whenever I look at Steam and I'm looking for a game that looks interesting, I'm always like, oh, this game looks kind of cool. And then I'm like, oh, it's VR.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's how it goes.
That's the only reason I know that it exists. So go into the funny things that happened in Game Award. Mention the Steam Deck. Mention the Steam Deck contest. Every 1 minute they gave out a Steam Deck. You had to register, and then I guess you had to watch, and you had to somehow participate with chat. I don't know, but that's the comical part of this story is the chat was apparently like just spammed with exclamation point Steam Deck slash Steam Deck slash claim. There was all these comments in the chat, and it was people attempting to claim their Steam Deck award or to like participate in the contest. And the most hilarious part of this whole thing is that there was no instruction.
Oh, so this
to
is
do
all like a
this.
big misunderstanding, basically.
Yeah, there was no.
Oh, okay. See, I was reading this article and I couldn't quite understand what was going on, but yeah, now I get it.
Yeah, the article is a little weird to read. There's like a mention of some Gabe, like some internet Gabe cult. Did you read that part?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw
I had
that.
never
Yeah.
heard of that in my life. They're called like Gabians or something like that.
Yeah, Gabians.
Gabenists.
Gabenist.
I had never heard that. I looked it up on Urban Dictionary. It's pretty funny. It says a Gaben. Gaben is the omnipotent, omniscient, omnibenevolent, omnipresent overlord of the PC gaming world. He will grant you deals on any game you may wish to purchase to gain your trust. He will convince you to add more money, and then he will sneak up behind you and shove you into a barrel of failed unboxing. I think this has changed. I think this has changed since the last time I read it. Someone changed it. Oh, that's so funny. I'm a
Man.
total Gabenist. I'm a member of the cult.
we should make some box art about it and put it on our Discord. Just like him as like the what do you want to call it? The socialist leader.
Oh yeah, he's the supreme leader.
Supreme leader. Yeah.
So the article talks about how like the entire chat was full of slash claims, exclamation point Steam Deck, people that like were participating in this thing. And the real joke is that nowhere in the official giveaway rules did it say anything about needing to type a single word into chat.
Yeah, so what the heck did they even get this idea from?
I bet one person did it and then it just snowballed. I bet
Yeah,
like
you're probably right.
I bet like a few people did it not realizing
And
that they
everyone
were,
saw it.
and then and then it
Yep.
just and then it was, because I mean, think about it. If you're like watching this just to get a Steam Deck, I would do it once just to
Yeah.
make sure I'm not wrong. You know?
I wonder how many people weren't even in the running for a Steam Deck that were
Yeah.
doing this.
They hadn't actually done the thing on Steam where you register.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I bet that's what it is. I bet that's what it is. I bet someone said you have to register and they didn't know what that meant, and so they're trying to type Discord commands into chat.
Or was somebody just trying to screw with somebody else?
Oh yeah, it totally
you
whatever.
You got to do this, dude.
Yeah. Whatever happened, it was like once someone realized what was happening, they kept it going. You know what I mean? Like I think it probably happened innocently, and then it was just like, let's just keep this going. So they were just like, oh, you got to type this in the chat. Hilarious. And then I guess we've been kind of burying the lead here, but someone actually snuck on stage during.
Yeah, I know, this is crazy.
Yeah, this made like national news. This was everywhere. I think if I play it, you won't be able to hear it. The podcast would hear it, but I don't think the guy. So this is the final. This is like the Game of the Year award, and from the team from Software, they get on stage, and this extra guy, he looks like he's like. He's one of those like 14 or 40 people. Like he looks like he's either either 14 or he's like 38. And he gets on stage. He like walks up with them quietly and just, he looks like he's supposed to be there and is just standing in the back. He keeps kind of shifting to make sure he's on camera. Like they switch cameras a few times and you can see him looking at the monitor to see if he's on camera, and he switches places. And he's just standing in the back quietly. And From Software actually has a translator, so they're speaking, and then they have a translator translate English. And he's like standing in the back the whole time, and then finally, and no one on stage knows who he is, and they think he's supposed to be there. And then right at the end, he gets up and he says, "Let's see if I can see the quote." But here's the thing: if you hear him say this, you can't tell what he's saying, and there's been so many different versions of what they thought he said. But what the most people believe he said, and I think this is what they've figured out he said, is, "Hey Martin, real quick, I want to thank everybody and say that I think I want to nominate this award to my Reformed Orthodox Rabbi Bill Clinton." What does this mean? What is this code for?
Oh man.
and then someone tweeted out that he got arrested.
Yeah, I guess so. That's what it looks like.
That's so crazy. Geoff Keighley says the individual who interrupted our Game of the Year moment has been arrested. And I want to know what this meant more than anything else. I want to know what this meant. I don't know what a punishment for something like this should be. I mean, it's not like he hurt anybody. It was just really bizarre. And
it kind of like he got out without getting much of anything.
Well,
it was just kind of like a slap on the wrist.
I think that it happened so. Like, I don't think anybody knew what happened until it was already over and done with. So he was probably just able to kind of walk off stage, and then someone was like, "Hey, was that supposed to? I don't think that was supposed to happen." I mean, it's.
Oh man,
I have no idea what his message meant or what the purpose was of that, but like, and it kind of ruined the moment for From Studio.
Oh yeah. But this is like going to be the meme forever now for
it's so weird.
The awards.
It's so weird, dude. I want to know what the story behind it is.
Yeah, I want to know, did he plan this thing over like a long period of time, or did he just see an opportunity and just go for it and was like just randomly saying all these words together?
I think that, all right, I hesitate to make a joke about a conspiracy because there would be some fraction of people out there that will like literally believe what I'm about to say. But I think that this is some kind of promotion for a game that it hasn't been announced yet. You know, it's like the new J.J. Abrams game. He's got this like, you know how J.J. Abrams always does those promotion things on the internet for his movies where like they're all like these little secret, you know, websites and happening. Totally what it is, man. This is going to be the new JJ Star Trek, the game, well, there already is a Star Trek MMO. This will be the new Cloverfield MMO where everybody just plays a terrified citizen that's going to get eaten by a monster. Yeah, I don't know.
Dude, so at the end of this article, there's an update, 12/9/22.
Yeah, you're right.
It says, since last night's prank, a long history of other stunts by the Bill Clinton kid has come to light. The LAPD also says no arrests were made, although a spokesperson for the Game Awards said he was taken to police station for questioning. The headline has been updated to reflect that.
Wow.
So apparently there's a long history of other stunts by the Bill Clinton kid. I don't know what that means exactly.
Yeah, is this one from BlizzCon?
So anyway, the identity of the mysterious jailer being unknown and somewhat a new figure.
He's shot in Free Hong Kong in BlizzCon 2019. And then there's another clip. So this is at like an NBA game. playing Gangnam Style. I don't think I play that. Wow, that's crazy. So they figured out who he was. That's wild.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh. So he's been in the business for a while.
But is it always Bill Clinton? Is it always like a Bill Clinton thing?
I don't know.
We got to find out more about this and talk about it next week. I don't know. Well, that's all the game. All the Game Awards news I had. Wow. It actually went longer than I thought it was going.
That's all right. It was a lot. It's all good.
What have you been doing anything in world of game development this week?
So yeah, I finally officially kind of got my tile set to work in the one that I bought. So it's like the ones
I discovered something that has to do with tile sets about MV versus MZ, and I wish I had gotten MZ. I don't know if it's related to the problem that you're about to talk about, but I discovered this right after our show last week, and I was like, oh, I wish I knew about this when we were talking about it last.
Well, at least I only paid $11 for this thing,
so
it's not so bad.
Yeah, no.
So it's not so bad.
It's not bad at all.
But the thing is, okay, so when you got the tile sets, there's for each set of A to E, I think it is, like A to E, versions, I guess you could say, of the tile sets.
Yeah.
A has multiple sections. So one's for like auto tiles, which basically auto tiles, like you can kind of paint, and they kind of like if you're painting a path, it'll turn if you go like straight and then down, it'll turn where the corner is. And it's got all that stuff, and you got to kind of break that up and make sure you put those in the right ones, or else they won't work properly, or they won't be in the same like area, like I don't know how to describe it, but anyway, they won't work properly. So you have to either get right auto tiles or put them in the normal slots, which is like B, C, D, and E, and just kind of like piece them together. That's the only two ways you can do it. And I found out that the guy I bought them from only has so many auto tiles, and then most of them are just normal tiles that don't. You kind of have to piece them together yourself by painting it yourself. So that's where my problem was, because I was putting them in the wrong place, and they weren't properly being displayed on the world.
Yeah. I don't know. That's really similar to what I discovered. So when I used to use RPG Maker back in the day, you had layers. You could layer things on top of other things just by choosing the layer. You could put any tile on any layer just by choosing the layer you want to place
Oh.
it on. So just like Photoshop or any other kind of editing software. And I couldn't get that to work in MV. And when I looked it up, apparently whenever they changed a formatting at some point, and whenever they made that change, they lost that feature. There was a lot of other
Mm.
improvements that they gained, so I guess they assumed it was worth it. Well, then they brought it back for MZ. So if you get MZ,
Oh.
it has the layering again. They even make it a feature
Yeah.
on their Steam page to point it out. Had I have known that, I would have gotten MZ because I remember that when I used to use it, that was a really big, useful feature. There's ways to
Yeah,
get
I could see
around
that
it.
being a huge useful feature.
Yeah. I mean, you can still layer it because so the way it works now is like you were talking about those A, B, C through E screens.
Yep. Yep.
Those those will layer on top of each other. So I think like B will layer on top of A and so on and so forth. But and so you just have to
Only
make
if you
sure that
have
your
a
tiles are set up
transparent
that way.
background.
Yeah, and that's the same too for the old way. Yeah, that's true.
Right.
But yeah, it works differently. You have to be more strategic, I think, in MV than MZ because of that scenario.
Yeah, it works. It's just you definitely have to make sure you do it correctly, or else it's gonna just look like crap.
But
No way around it.
what I saw a lot of people doing was that and it looked like this really like if you were really trying to make a really professional game in RPG Maker, this looked like kind of the way to do it. What they would do is they would build their map in RPG Maker, and then they would
Mhm.
export that as an image and open it in Photoshop. And then within
Mm.
Photoshop, they would edit layers. And then once they have the layers the way they want in Photoshop, they could then import that layer by layer. So everything each layer once you get everything the
Mhm.
way you want it, each layer you kind of hide the other layers, export that as a like a PNG so that it has a
Mm.
transparent background, and then you layer those back on top of each other within RPG Maker. Now, I've never done this. I didn't even try. I just watched a
Yeah.
video of people doing it.
That's too much for me.
I think it really does look good though. I don't think it would be as dramatic as you think because still you're building all the maps in RPG Maker, but then you're just
Right.
saying, okay, I've got this way I want it. Make me an image of that, and then you go and edit it in Photoshop, and then bring it back in.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Oh, but I think I made a lot of progress on my Unity game this weekend.
Oh, okay.
I got the whole like starting area that I wanted done, as far as like the level build of it, and I learned what I think my process is going to be for level design because I had been looking last week. I talked about how like I felt like I kept being compelled to buy assets, and
Yeah.
well, the reason why is because I just it's hard to know. It's just hard. It's just hard. Like if you're making a game that's like not super simple, that just has like one or two sets, then it's like each
Yeah.
set you're gonna have to build by hand. And if you want it to be really detailed, then you're gonna have to do. It just gets to the point where it's just like you pay $20
Yeah.
and somebody's already done it. And but then if you buy assets from people, you're gonna get them from a dozen different people, and they're all gonna be of different styles, and they're not gonna match each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's one big problem with that.
So, uh, what I learned from our RPG Maker discussion last week is that I need to simplify. I need to the appeal that we talked about with RPG Maker was that it's going to work. It makes a particular type of game, but it does
Yep.
that really well. And
Right.
you have a tool set that is limiting but in a
Mhm.
creative way. Because you're limited to this
Yep.
tool set, you have to come up with ways to
Yep.
use it. I kind of
You
took
can
that
go outside of the box, it's just it takes a lot more
yeah.
effort to do so.
So I'm kind of taking that approach right now with Unity. I'm using the Pro Builder to build my level. So Pro Builder is it's a built-in add-on for Unity that allows you to like you have to watch videos about it. There's no way I can explain it on a podcast, but like it
Yeah.
allows you to manipulate shapes and to actually build things in Unity like the way you would see somebody doing like Blender or something.
Okay.
And I used that to build my environment, and then I made it. I made everything kind of like low poly, really basic looking.
Okay.
Single
Yeah.
colors. Like I made everything as simple as I could, but I tried to do it uniformly so that everything is like that. And then I,
Right.
instead of buying whole assets, I just found a place where I could download textures, and so
Okay.
I learned how to make my own materials using textures with normal maps and height maps, and because I'm keeping everything really simple, I'm trying to follow like a really simple kind of rule that everything looks uniform, and I can build it quicker. Then I think I can do. I don't want to say the whole game this way, but I think I can do most of the game this way. My dilemma now is, there's one asset that I'm planning to use in the game. You've seen it. It's the parking garage I posted on Discord.
Right. Yep.
It's not going to match this style because it looks realistic. So I'm going to have to somehow simplify it and make it look, more probably keeping everything the same but changing the textures to a more simple, like less detailed texture.
Gotcha.
But yeah, so I made a lot of progress, and I think the moral of the story is, whenever you're when you're a solo developer making something, and especially when you're trying to do something, I think that I'm trying to do something that's a little too ambitious. Like I think that my first game should not be a full story, like survival horror game. I think I should be doing something simpler. But I think I can do it as long as I keep all of this process as simple as possible. Like just
right.
And I think I can work on really creepy aesthetic to it. There's a game called Virginia. I don't know if you've ever heard this game. If you look it up on Steam,
Nope.
It has a really low poly, simple. I downloaded it and I can't decide how I feel about the game. I kind of like the artsiness of it, but at the same time, it's not really a great game. It's just kind of a walking simulator kind of deal. If you like walking simulators, it's probably worth playing. But if you're not into that, if you're not into that kind of thing, you're not gonna, But it's a really low poly, really simple.
Okay, I see
game.
it. Yep.
But they do a really good job of still making it creepy. Like there's a few scenes in the game in particular that's just, oh wow, for this to be like low poly, like little Lego people, this is actually a really creepy moment in the game. And so I'm trying to replicate that style best I can because it's something that I can do on my own without getting too caught up in the detail.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think I picked up something valuable from our RPG Maker discussion last week.
Well, that's good. I'm glad I did. But that's why I really went with, well, it was on sale for one, but for two, the reason why I went with it is because it's going to be so much easier for me to just be able to just kind of sit there and I'm going to do a couple of levels of my game here. I'm just going to do blah 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 for an hour during lunch or whatever at work or here for an hour or something like that, and just kind of maybe finish one section and then move on from there and just do a piece by piece by piece.
Yeah. You know what I've found is that one of the reasons I'm not playing MMOs anymore like I used to is because I got into learning Unity and game development, because I used to like MMOs because it was like a constant progress. Like I felt like I'm working on this character, I'm working on something, and I'm making it a little better every time I sit down.
Oh, okay.
I was kind of addicted to that progression. And
yeah,
now
it wasn't the game, it was actually the progression.
Yeah, now I'm doing the same thing with this, where it's like I'll get a little more accomplished every time I sit down at it, and then I've got this thing that is building and growing over time,
I know exactly what you mean. But see, for me, the problem is with me learning, I've done so much like creation, destruction, that I'm like,
me too.
It's so frustrating.
Yeah, I've
but
done
now that I
too.
got my tile sets in there and I've understood that I can't use certain tile sets in certain places inside of the game, I'm learning that the limitations so I can actually start to really make the game.
Cool. Crowbar Kernel Panic game dev over here, dev team.
Yep.
We'll come out with a game in about 11 years.
Either come out with one game in 11 years or 11 games in one year.
True. Depends on which approach we take. Well, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I think back again next week for another episode. This has been a good one. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit of Linux in the beginning, and then it was a whole lot of Game Awards news.
Yeah, well, that took up a lot just because that's the big thing that goes on every year, you know?
Oh, so let's see, how many Mondays do we have for the end of the year? So we have Monday,
2.
yeah, 2, and one is the day after Christmas.
Yeah.
So who knows if we'll actually do that one? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
Who knows? Yeah, I'm not saying I
Maybe
will.
like
I'm not
that
saying I won't.
Wednesday at most, maybe, but
Yeah, we probably do something that week if we don't do it that day.
yeah.
And then so the 19th. So next week could be our last episode.
We'll just do it. We'll just do a New Year's.
Yeah.
So stream all night now.
So next week needs to be our end of the year episode, is what I'm saying, just because the
Yeah.
next one is
Oh,
coming
yeah,
up in
yeah.
the air. So what do you think our end of the year plans should be? Should we do, the big Linux podcast thing is the prediction show, and I'm not against the
Yeah.
idea. As a
No.
matter of fact, I don't have another idea. but like, is there anything creative we could do for the end of the year podcast? We could do Linux predictions, gaming predictions. We could do
Well,
best
maybe not
of.
like predictions. Maybe like maybe not from this year. See, that's the problem. But maybe next year we can do like what we progressed in the year, like what games we've progressed in, or what like game dev we've progressed in, like
Yeah.
how far we've gotten.
Yeah.
No,
I think that's a good idea that we could do like a little bit of a year recap but a
Yeah.
more personalized one.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. I'll be down to do that. I hear
Or
what
we can
you're
even
saying.
have people can like write in and like say like their own personal, like growth over the year or whatever,
We can ask in the Discord. Yeah.
And we could also do some predictions too. I mean, like, throw a couple in.
A little bit of both. A little bit of both. I like it. So, next episode will be the end of year 2022, a Linux year-end review. Will be the next live stream. I'll go ahead and make the since we got a title, I'll go ahead and make the
Yeah.
live stream thing. All right, cool.
Throw in Fedora in there.
Yeah, I predict that there will be a Fedora 34. 30, 35. Whatever the next one is.
38.
38. What are they on for real? Are we on 37?
37 right now. Gonna be 38 next
I was about
year.
to pull up about to be sure. All right. See you next week. Peace.